Alrighty, everyone. Tactical Lich here. Welcome back to another tournament stream. Well, this is not exactly a traditional tournament, as it is indeed 4v4 best of 3 series between 3 different teams. So I think it was more of a round robin. But yeah, basically what happened was the factions are divided into basically 3 teams: the Order, the Terror, and the Chaos. And each team will be duking it out against the other 2 teams, and in the end, the team with the highest score, the most points, and the most wins, basically, will be crowned the victor among the 3 teams. And basically, the other 2 series, Chaos versus Terror and Order versus Terror, were cast by 2 other brilliant streamers, brilliant content YouTube creators, Human Boy Yes and Tequila Sunset. So if you have missed out on the previous 4v4 action, do go ahead and check out their channels and check out their streams / videos about the 4v4s. Actually, I should put them in the chat. Tequila Sunset cast the whole series in multiple videos, so I'm just gonna put his channel on my chat. That should be Order versus Terror, and then we have Chaos versus Terror from Human Boy Yes stream. He streamed it, so it was basically cast live. I do need to pick that up. There we go. Share link, copy, and so once you have time, do go check out these brilliant games. I'm just gonna pin them as well. And can I pin multiple messages? Wait, what? Okay. Pin a wrong message. Pin. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Tequila Sunset hosted the Order versus Terror series, while Human Boy was the... Oh, you can't pin multiple... Damn it. Oh, well. I'll just pin Tequila Sunset then. But yeah, basically, 3 different series cast by 3 different content creators, each with different teams. And overall, the scores have been pretty overwhelmingly in favor of Team Terror, as they have secured overwhelming victories in both of their matches. I think the score, let me just check the score. The score right now is Order has 0 points. Unfortunately, they have suffered defeat in every single battle, excluding the ones we haven't cast yet. To avoid spoilers, I did not check out the replays from before, so I do not know what happened with the games. And then Team Chaos has 1 victory from Team Terror, so they got 1 point so far. And Team Terror has been sweeping this whole tournament, getting 5 wins out of their 6 games. Truly Terror indeed, Terror on the battlefield. And in this one final series of the best of 3 4v4, we have Chaos on the right side on the red team versus Order on the left side on the blue team. And yeah, we shall see what happens in the end. Again, I have not checked out the replay before, so I do not know what happened in battles. As you can see here, these best of 3s are not exactly done exactly the same. Instead, every single battle were done under different budget. So we started with a very small army at 5k, and then we go back to the normal funds at 12,400 gold, and then in the last game 20,000 gold. It's gonna be a different battle every time, and I hope my computer doesn't crash when we load into the 20,000 fun battle, because we can see how many entities here, really, like, especially with the beastmen loading up with a ton of troops. But other than that, we shall start with the smallest battle, the 5,000 gold one between dwarves, human empire, human Grand Cathay, lizardmen versus the chaos forces, Khorne, and then we have the chaos undivided warriors of chaos, Nurgle, and also beastmen. Basically, if you look at the thumbnail of the stream, or although if you're in the stream you can't really see it, basically all the factions are divided into 3 teams, so 8 factions for each team. For the Order faction, we have, just let me quickly check which exact factions we have in the Order. We have Empire, Bretonnia, Grand Cathay, Wood Elves, High Elves, Lizardmen, Kislev, and Dwarves. Versus Chaos is Chaos Undivided in terms of both warriors and demons. And then we have Khorne, Nurgle, the 4 gods basically, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, and 2 more auxiliary factions, the Beastmen and Norsca. And yeah, this is gonna be an Order versus Chaos matchup, and we are gonna see how these 2 teams duke it out in the in this series. Now let's without further ado, let's just go into the first battle here. And yeah, hello Nurgle's PA, Sipa, and Edwin Gibson. Looks like it's gonna be a great day indeed. I haven't seen a 4v4 in a long while. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to catch the previous 4v4 best of 3 casts because I've been fairly busy lately. Quite unfortunate there. But yeah, we are gonna go in and check out this series. Actually, I need to do that. I forgot to turn on the scoreboard. So yeah, once we load in, we'll just pause the game a bit and just update the scoreboard. On the left, we have Team Order on 0 points in this best of 3 right now. They have been suffering quite badly in this best of 3 event, as they have not been able to score a single win yet against Team Terror. Let's see if they can grab some wins against Chaos and turn the tide in this best of 4v4 best of 3 event. Anyways, we are switching the scoreboard, just adjusting the scoreboard, and we should be able to get it started soon. Alright, cool. Alrighty, now we have the scoreboard up and we are ready to go for sure. For Team Order, we have Dwarfs, Empire, Grand Cathay, and Lizardmen, and they are indeed forming a box, doing what the Order does best, really. For the Dwarf Army, okay, so basically, when you're playing 4v4, there are 2 kinds of approach, usually. One, you have like 4 sections, 4 armies deploying separately, each doing their own thing. Or 2, you kind of intersect these, intersperse the formation with different armies, units, and try to maintain a cohesive formation, and the Order army is doing exactly that. We have a front line of Dwarf Blasting Charges Minor as the front line there, providing a bit of a devastating firepower to nuke enemy front line, and then soften them up before fighting them in melee. On the flanks, there are some Dwarf Warriors providing a sturdier protection on the flanks. They're backed up by a couple Iron Drakes, one with a flamethrower with multiple chevrons, and the other are the Trollhammer Torpedoes, and the rest of the Dwarf army is pretty much just a Rune Lord, a very cheap leadership. Coming in with Rune of Hearth and Home to provide that immune to psychology, keeping surrounding units in the fight longer, making sure they're not terror routed, and then Rune of Wrath and Ruin as well to blast away enemy chaff. A rather small army after all, since they don't really have the most funds at only 5,000 gold. The Dwarf Warriors are also at the back there, guarding the rear of this hexagonal box. Now, for the next army, the Empire, we can see that there are some spears in the front line, protecting the box, and an elite silver bullet with their magical armor-piercing handguns. Leading the army is an expensive lord. Carmine Dragon with Elspeth von Draken on top of it. So yeah, Deadly Laser for sure, the Coruscating Blast, Spirit Leech, Fate of Buna, and Death's Timekeeper for an additional Spirit Leech plus healing for the Carmine Dragon. The next army, we have the classic box army here. But they're not really bringing that much box element other than their peasant long spears. Instead, all their funds are invested into the single entities. Terracotta Sentinel, expensive but definitely very sturdy, unroutable construct, and also the Jet Lion, providing a bit of missile mirror. I wonder why. Actually, oh yeah, there are no Cathay missiles, so which is why you need that Jet Lion to provide the Yin Harmony buff to surrounding Cathay troops. Other than that, it's a pretty nice piece to provide a little bit of... Oh, right. The Disrupted effect can be quite useful against enemy spellcaster, silencing them and also reducing their physical resistance, especially good against demonic units. But yeah, Missile Mirror and the silence effect would be the most useful things about the Jet Lion, though the Missile Mirror isn't going to be anything useful against the Chaos Army, which lacks missiles in general. Last but not least, we have the Protectors of Order, the Defenders of the Old World, the Lizardmen. Yes, indeed, the Lizardmen are coming in with some very expensive single entities. Again, Slamage Priest of Metal with the Bound Banishment and a Final Transmutation spell. There's also, of course, the Shield of the Old Ones, not only benefiting Lizardmen troops this time, but also any Order allies. There's also an expensive Thunderous one, really investing in the single entities for on the Order army this time. Not going Order type, not going for the numbers here, just trying to invest in Extreme Monster, which is understandable. In a small funds battle, usually single entities would have that kind of advantage here if they're extremely strong, since they don't really suffer as much in terms of they don't suffer as much from losing HP and losing unit models. Well, you don't have any unit models to lose anyways. So proportionally, you still maintain the same DPS, unlike the weaker units. And also, without enough funds, it's also harder to deal with the expensive single entities, especially large monsters like the Thunderous one, Terracotta Sentinel, and the Carmine Dragon. So yeah, the Order army is going all out on the single entities, ready to just crush those puny Chaos Infantry with their Giant Paws or feet or whatever. On the other side of the battlefield, we have the Chaos Army, a front line of Marauders, and which is just front line of Marauders, really. They're going really wide with their infantry, plus mobility here. So for the Warriors of Chaos, Marauders, and then backed up by a couple Chosen with Halberds, supported by Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Nurgle with Lore of Death, Fate of Buna, and Spirit Leech. No... Oh, right, no, there's the healing, Crown of Everlasting Conquest. I was wondering why there's no healing on this guy, but no, the healing item is definitely there, making sure the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord will not die. For the... I think that's all for the Warriors of Chaos, since the Chosen with Halberds are quite expensive indeed, costing, I think, 1,400 to 1,500 gold, roughly, I think. And, yeah, they took out a huge amount of the Warriors Army's funds. For the Khorne Army, right next to them, Marauders of Khorne with dual weapons, backed up by Bloodletter, and some 3 units of Khorne Furies in the skies, providing some very nice mobility, supported by Valkia the Bloody with Spear Slopnir and the Demon Shield. Spear Slopnir definitely very good against a tight box like that, so yeah, that should be a very good ability. Proportionally just gonna be more effective against a much larger army, since every bit of gold damage it dealt will be more impactful than a bigger army. Okay, so for the Beastman army, providing mobility support and missiles, 2 units of Ungor Raiders and Senegals with great weapons, plus a Xantagol right in the forest. Leading the Beastman army, a Great Brave Shaman of Wild. Now, this Great Brave Shaman, of course, is coming in with Traderkin, so definitely gonna be quite devastating against a tight box like that. The Chaos Army is pretty much just deploying in sections. We can see the Warriors of Chaos here, and then the Khorne Army kind of over here. But the Beastmen and Nurgle army are scattered all over the place. Nurgle coming in also with the Nurgle Chaos Lord, with Fleshy Abundance only, just coming in with those healing, because they're investing quite a bit in their mobility. Chaos Knight of Nurgle, supported by some Chaos Furies and a single Marauders in the front line. That's it for the army builds. Now, without further ado, let's just get the battle started, as the order box is just gonna stand their ground here. While the Furies on the other side, there is a lot of Furies, by the way, on the Chaos army. In total, 5 units of Furies and 1 more Valkyr the Bloody as a Flying Lord. So that is a lot of mobility pressure, and the missile backline in the box is gonna be quite worrisome right here. Anyways, the Iron Drakes will be opening fire first, trying to shoot up Valkyr the Bloody, doing some minor damage. But Valkyr, if she gets lucky, she can probably get a bit of heal, get a bit of... Oh, right, I forgot about the Skink Skirmishers on the flanks, but and a single Skink unit. But that's about it, nothing too impactful here. But yeah, Spirit Leech already onto the Great Brave Shaman of Wild, draining away his HP, and if there's another... Oh, was that a Coruscating Breath? Oh no, it's probably just getting shot by a bunch of Iron Drakes, and yeah. And Chaos single entities are taking quite a bit of losses already. Flamethrowers blasting away some Marauders, oh my, that is a beautifully cast Spear Slopnir, nuking the HP of these Peasant Long Spears. I need to slow down a bit because there's a lot going on right now. Final Transmutation on Valkyr the Bloody, I believe, and Silver Bullets also opening fire on the Valkyr. Furies are diving in with the rest of the mobility, rushing up in sync. Team Chaos definitely coordinating the rush very well here, as these are 4 different players controlling 4 different armies, and yet their mobility are arriving roughly the same time. Very nice cooperation indeed. The Angor Raiders are raining in fire onto the Terracotta Sentinel. They probably should be shooting at the Silver Bullets, but yeah. Shooting at an armored target like that is gonna be a waste of ammo, but well. Furies are tying down Skinks, but what they need to really do is to jump on top of these Iron Drakes and Silver Bullets, which they are doing right now. Carmine Dragon in the skies, they're surrounded by enemy Furies and Valkyr the Bloody nearby. They don't really want to... she doesn't really want to stay in there. Coruscating Breath still having 3 uses, but the problem is that there are just too much melee pressure in the skies. She can't... The Carmine Dragon can't just stay there untouched and blast things up with the laser, unfortunately. And yeah, Furies are diving, flooding in onto the Silver Bullets. Iron Drakes, though, doing some really good damage against the lightly armored Chaos Infantry, but the Silver Bullets are in a bit of a pinch. Chaos Knight are also rushing in, a banishment cast onto the backline, trying to nuke some of these Chaos forces, but unfortunately the mobility just keeps pushing forward and move out of the area of effect, while the Grokos of Wolf's Run here, chugging and throwing axes against the Terracotta Sentinel, definitely a good target, though the Chaos Furies in the mix are taking more and more losses. The Thunderous one probably should sally forth and run down some Marauder of Corn, but oh no, a big Traderkin is gone. Nope, Final Transmutation. Oh, okay. Final Transmutation. Wait, Final Transmutation. Wait, is there an Alchemist here? Hold on, is there an Alchemist here that I missed out? Oh shit, that was embarrassing. Where is... Is there... Wait, what? Where is... This is a Dragonblooded Shugengan Lord of Yin. She doesn't have Final Transmutation, but she does have Talons of the Night and Ancestral Warriors. But where's the Final Transmutation? Oh wait, no, that's the Metal Slan. What am I saying? Okay, yeah, the Metal Slan, the beautifully cast Final Transmutation, nuking a bunch of stuff. Fate of Buna, though, also dropped onto the Iron Drakes, deleting the unit. What lore does the Slan have? Yeah, that's the thing. The Slan has a metal lore, so yeah. That was where the Final Transmutation came from. Iron Drakes, though, getting deleted by Fate of Buna. The box of the Order has been broken up pretty badly by the Chaos Rush. Their missiles just simply don't have the time to shoot when there are so many Furies dropping onto them. And Valkyr the Bloody is hounding the Slime Mage Priest of Metal. Another AoE spell onto this blob of Order troops. Oh no, this is going to be painful. Traderkin, a regular cast but still doing some good damage, covering multiple single entities. Rune Lord, Elspeth, the Slime Mage, and the Terracotta Sentinel, even the Dragonblood, the Shugengan Lord. And yeah, things are not looking too hot for the Order army as their box is just breaking apart. A heal is coming in for Valkyria the Bloody here. A Fleshy Abundance indeed, trying to top up that Chaos Lord's HP. On the far side, Elspeth probably trying to position herself with a Laser Breath. She's gonna be... That's gonna drag her away from the fight in the middle. Yes, she did a lot of damage to the Great Brave Shaman, but the problem is that there's nothing to support the Order army with terror in the vicinity. And another AoE spell. What is this gonna be this time? Final Transmutation once again from the Metal Slan, trying to squeeze out all his magic before he goes down as the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord is just beating him down, plus the Archer firing in. Yeah, things are not looking great for the Slan Mage Priest, and on top of that, well, he drops in another banishment. Nope, that is Talons of the Night here. Slan Mage Priest is dead, so no more metal casting for the Order Tide here, but the Talons of the Night is doing a lot of damage to the Marauders, and on top of that, the Chaos Lord of Nurgle of Death is beaten up, chilled up by the Carmine Dragon. Valkyria close by though, so that is still going to be a threatening melee presence for the Carmine Dragon. On the far side, the Beastmen mobility are just rushing around, trying to run off some routed Order troops. Over here, the Thunderous One has been shot up pretty bad by the Archers and also hacked down by the Chosen with Halberds. The Chosen with Halberds really the anchor of the Chaos lines here. Holding in, basically is gonna outgrind everything else on the Order side. A bit of Ruin of Wrath and Ruin, blasting away some Chaos Marauders, but also did some friendly fire to the Dwarf Warriors. The Order troops over here are driving up with the support of the Terracotta Sentinel and the Jet Lion, plus the Carmine Dragon, trying to push back some of these Beastmen mobility. Valkyria once again dives in and hacks away at Elspeth's HP bar. On the far side, the Rune Lord is surrounded by a ton of elite Chosen, and things are not looking great for Order here, as their main pocket is pretty much just these single entities here, and it's not gonna end up too well when there are halberd, very elite halberds on the field, and throwing axes also chipping away quite a bit of health from Elspeth. The Ungol Raiders are firing in, whittling down the health of the remaining Order troops, while Elspeth once again found herself in a fight against Valkyria the Bloody, which she does not want to get stuck in. A Spirit Leech draining away the health of Elspeth. Wait, what? Was that breath? That was a cancelled breath as Elspeth got dragged into melee. She tried to use a breath onto Valkyria, but unfortunately she just got dragged into melee and was forced to cancel the breath. Another Talons of the Night here, killing off the rest of these blood letters surrounding the Rune Lord, but the Chosen are still very much healthy. Very unfortunate for the Order as their balance of power drops closer and closer to army losses. Somehow there's still some single entities in the fight, but the Carmine Dragon has been routed, and yeah, that shall be all. That shall be it for the first battle here, as we witness the fall of the last bit of the Cathay single entities, holding till the very end. But yeah, Valkyria value? My god, what the hell did Valkyria do? Oh, yeah, Valkyria was hounding the Slan Mage Priest and then cutting down the Carmine Dragon. She just got some really good trade in this fight here, as the expensive large targets couldn't really fight back against her. And now she's just going after the Dragon Blood, the Shugengan Lord, finishing the leadership and caster of the Grand Cathay army. Grokov's of Wolf's Run, Psycho charging in, getting some regeneration as well. And that shall be army losses. And it shall be victory of Team Chaos in this first battle. GG well played to all four players here. On the team order, we have Shirayuki, Pegas, Race, and Nerd. Not Dr. Nerd, I don't think, but Nerd. As for the Chaos Army, it's Mr. Chalk. Borgash is now Niche, if I remember correctly. Nurgle's PA as well, which was in the chat with us. Chakra is here too. Beat up a very expensive dragon. Indeed, your Corn Army did earn... yeah, did earn their value, I believe. Especially Valkyria carrying the game on her back, really. 3k worth of gold damage. That was some pretty impressive performance indeed. Also, Zaxi on the Team Chaos as well. For the rest of the army performances for Team Chaos, actually, the Marauders of Khorne with dual weapons did pretty fine, and the Furies also earned back most of their value. So overall, the Khorne army did very well in the battle. Like, some decent performance from the non-hero units, and some amazing performance from Valkyria the Bloody. Warriors of Chaos, the undivided one, the chosen with halberds, actually earned back significant value in the melee fight, as there were no melee troops that can challenge them from the Order side. Yeah, there's literally nothing that can touch them. All the low-cost infantry, because all the money they sank into the expensive single entities, the infantry was very weak for the Order army. So, the chosen with halberds just trade well into everything they run into. Very unfortunate there. The only thing that can challenge them are pretty much just AP missiles, which the Furies dealt with pretty easily. For the Nurgle army here, not a lot of value. They're just mostly performing a disruption role, using the Furies to dive enemy backline, and of course, some of these Chaos Knights of Nurgle just rushing into the backline, pushing through the enemy light infantry and shutting down enemy missiles. Not a lot of value, since the units they are good against are pretty much just the chaff, not the expensive stuff. And the expensive stuff were either dealt with by Valkyria or the halberds or the throwing axes. As you can see here, the Beastmen, Centaur units all did spectacularly in combat. And on top of that, there is the Traitorkin draining away a ton of health from the Order forces, especially when the Order was blobbing up with all the single entities like that, making them especially vulnerable to direct damage spells like Traitorkin. The Angor Raiders also did some really good damage. Yeah. Overall, very solid stuff, using the mobility to their advantage, running down enemy units and chasing them off once they are routed. As for the Order army, unfortunately, a little bit too thin in terms of their army. There are some very expensive single entities, but as a result, there is nothing to protect those missile troops at the back line, and they all got compromised pretty quick by the swarm of Furies. And yeah, the single entities actually didn't do that well here, and just take a lot of damage either from the halberds or Valkyria, or being shot by a bunch of Beastmen missiles and swarmed by mobility. Especially nice touch with the great weapon Centaurs. They seem to be really good in the current patch with the new adjustments and all, so they can actually do some very good damage against any kind of unit on the charge. Single entities, cavalry or infantry, it's all good. They can all do decent stuff in those fights. Now for the next fight here, let's just load in. We have Race, Tequila Sunset, Olaf the Moose, and Pegas on the Order side. And for the Chaos side, we have Nurgle's PA, Zaxi, Mr. Chalk, and Borgash. The same 4 players. On the Chaos side, two different players from the Order side. Tequila Sunset himself is in the fight, so yeah, let's just load in. Wait, what? Wait, yep, sure. Right. This is the right armies. Yep, that's fine. And yeah, let's just load in, and then we can check the army builds. Okay, I can hear the music. Alright, cool. Let's pause now, because as we can see, we have some pretty interesting Vanguard action. Okay, for the Order army, we are seeing an Order tide here. Instead of going for single entity heavy, we're now on normal funds at 12,400 gold. So we can see more relatively normal armies here. For the Order tide, a ton of spears actually. A front line of peasant long spears for. Okay, let's just do them one by one. For the Wood Elves, we have quite a few Vanguard forces. one single unbreakable Winterheart Guardians in Winterheart Guards in the front line there. AP anti-large spears with unbreakable trait, charge, defense. Wait, what? They have a word save. Warding iron from Zhao right behind them. Okay, that makes sense. Anyways, Winterheart Gods, a spellcaster of Shadow, Spellsinger with Pendulum and Pit of Shades. And on the other side, we have a ton of Wood Elf Vanguard deployment, Great Stag Knights, Wild Hunters of Kurnos, more Great Stag Knights, 3 whole units of Great Stag Knights, and 2 more Glade Riders on the flank. And also Orion. Orion, the leader of the Wild Hunt. A demigod, basically. Guiding the rest of the Wild Hunt army. He has his basically full toolkit, actually. Hounds of Orion, Hulk's Talon, both do some pretty good AoE damage, but of course they're not amazing, but better than nothing, I guess. One of the Wild Hunt for all that extra charge bonus. 60% charge bonus is definitely going to be significant, especially on the Great Stag Knights and Wild Hunters that can receive some solid buffs. I think this is the way to go in all of these huge games. Missile units just seem to have a really rough time. Yeah, indeed. There's just too many units that can overload your defenses, and the missiles will get compromised quite fast. Now, for the rest of the Order army here, let's go for the Grand Cathay one. Zhao Ming, as usual, leading the army with no final transmutation. Oh wait, final transmutation, Plague of Rust, and Dragon's Breath as the spell kit. Transformation of Dragon, which is like the bound ability. Anyways, you have to be able to transform it into a dragon and switch back into a human as a Cathay dragon after all. Burning Van Braces for the burst heal and damage resistance. And yeah, Warding Iron as a passive 5% damage resistance, nothing too crazy. The rest of the Grand Cathay army, we have a lot of units here, so give me a bit of time to find everything. We have a lot of Cathay Air Force, actually. 3 units, maybe 4? 3? 3 units of Crowmen. 3 units of, yeah, it's 3 units of Crowmen, right? Yeah. We don't see the Empress Crowmen, though. That's a bit of a pity. We don't see those bomb drops, but either way, 3 units of Longma as well. A solid force to counteract any possible furies, especially when there's the Righteous Lancers of Wei Jing and super elite Longma Riders in the skies as well to drop on any armored entities. That should be it for the Grand Cathay forces, right? I don't see... Oh wait, no, Jade Lancers. Grand Cathay going heavy on the mobility. Actually, the Order army is going heavy on the mobility. Jade Lancers, a front line of a few Peasant Long Spears. That's about it for the Grand Cathay forces. Now, next we have Kislev, who does have Zarina Katerin on her ice sled. A big janky piece of a chariot, but is pretty good with the high mass. Guarded closely by the Gold Knight, Nariska Lesa, with the Silencing Aura plus... Silencing Aura would be really good, actually, against enemy lords and characters. But let's see if it's going to actually be useful here, because we have so many casters all over the field. It's going to be really hard for one Silencing Aura to catch all of them, unless Team Chaos makes some stupid mistakes. We shall see here. Serena's Guardian providing the physical resistance as well, which is pretty nice. And Ursin's Claw for the Frozen cannot move imbuement, the contact effect, and also additional weapon damage. Really nice item, actually. I haven't seen that being used that much. Not that I've seen Nariska being used that much, but we shall see if she's gonna be good here. Anyways, Incarnate Elemental of Beast, and supported by the Mordheim Beowulfs to deny possible Nurgle healing. The rest of the Kislev forces are just going into the mobility, I believe. Yeah, I don't see any infantry of Kislev. Instead, it's just gonna be mobility, Griffin Legion, 2 units of them. Oh wait, is there not? No. 2 units of Griffin Legion and 4 units of Kislevite Kozovite Dervishes scattered across the battlefield. Oh, okay, there are a couple more Glade Riders on the other flank, so yeah. Wood Elf going for a very Vanguard heavy approach. But yeah, for the fourth and final Order forces, we have the High Elves, a front line of White Lions of Trace. Actually, it's a second line backing up the spear front line there. Second line of White Lions of Trace plus a single archer unit guarded by some War Lions. Really cool units. I don't usually see them, but they have been making a resurgence in the recent meta, as they are pretty good to deal with Furies, using their anti-infantry bonus and the mass to pin them down and then just charge in and eat up those Furies alive. Basically, a bunch of War Lions scattered across the battlefield. Actually, a lot of lions when you think about it. White Lions, War Lions, leading the army Imric on his dragon with his basically full toolkit. Star Lance, Dragon Horn, and Lord of Dragons. Very impressive melee power from him. And one more elite unit of Fireborn, and that's it for the Order army, I believe. Oh, wait, where's the High Elf Spellcaster? Of course, a life caster, life mage with Earth Blood and Regrowth, accompanying Imric, of course, providing all that solid healing to Fireborn and Imric, sustaining these two very important units' health. On the other side of the battlefield, we have the Army of Chaos. They are deployed quite scattered as well, just breaking up their units and trying to deploy in a more balanced formation instead of like sectioning their army up. So, let's just do it one by one. I think these are the Nurgle forces. Yeah, Nurgle army. We have a Pestigals and a mixture of Pestigal, Marauders of Nurgle, some Chaos Knights of Nurgle, and Furies in the skies. They are deployed across a very, very wide front. And leading the army, a Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Nurgle. Of course, coming in with Fleshy Abundance and the Crown of Everlasting Conquest. There's a lot of single entities on this side, actually. It looks like the Chaos Army is trying to do an overload attack against the Order Army. And let's see if that's going to work here. Their mobility are mostly concentrated, and also single entities and monsters are mostly concentrated on this side, as there are some very expensive stuff for the Beastman army here. Let's go for the Beastman army, which we are seeing the double Gorgon Jabberslave build, a classic powerful single entity spam from the Beastman forces, supported by Malagor the Dark Omen with only Flock of Doom, but of course he is in there for the additional yeah, he's just there for the Flock of Doom. Okay. Alright. So, just Flock of Doom. No leadership debuff item. Okay. Just as a mobile flying Flock of Doom caster. I'm not even sure which Beastmen, which Xantagors are for which army, actually. Well, okay, we have a lot of Xantagors on the field. The yellow flag Xantagors are, one... And nope, just one unit of yellow flag Xantagors. Two units of yellow flag Xantagors. So 2 Beastmen Xantagors. The rest are all Teen forces, actually. But yeah, 2 units of Beastmen Xantagors, and then a bunch of Angkor Raiders scattered across the battlefield. But most of their funds went into the double Gorgon Jabberslave build. So not a lot of funds to go anywhere else. There's also a very expensive piece of Butchers of Kalkengord. So a lot of expensive monsters. Not a lot of army for the Beastmen forces. And yeah. Oh, there are more Nurgle cavalry here. Okay, more Nurgle Knights, providing even more armored mass. And these are, yeah, more Pestigors. So 4 Pestigors and a bunch of Marauders for Nurgle. And yeah. A bit of a chaotic deployment here, unfortunately. So we're still on the third army, actually. The third army would be Tinge, which I am quite confused. These are Demons of Chaos, right? Yeah, these are Demons of Chaos. Okay. The third army is Tinge with a lot of horrors. Pink horrors, pink horrors, pink horrors, sour guts, and then blue horrors on the far side. A bunch of Furies in the skies, 4 of them, in fact, providing a solid mobility support. Wait, there are more Nurgle Furies here. But yeah, anyways, there are some Tinge Xantagors. These Xantagors are actually Tinge. So yeah, 2 Tinge Xantagors plus 2 Beastmen Xantagors. So definitely a lot of very solid mobility. But that's not the end of the Tinge mobility. But there's also some Chaos Knights of Tinge in the mix. They will be supported by a single Chaos Sorcerer of Tinge with Metal Magic. Skull of Catan. Oh god, if the single entities of the Order Tide blobs up together, that is going to be the end of them. Because it's going to be supporting the final transmutation. gonna be some really brutal spell combo if they got stacked together. Leading the army, Chaos Lord of Tinge for some relatively cheap but decent melee fighter anti-large armor piercing single entity. And yeah, that's it for the Tinge army here. As for the last but not least, we have the Demons of Chaos. We are seeing a couple of fiends, very solid monstrous infantry now. They have a speed of one of the they basically have speed matches the fastest cavalry on the ground, while still having that monstrous infantry, low unit model count, but solid impact damage on the charge. Plus soporific must for that melee debuff, magic attacks to bypass enemy physical resistance, devastating flanker, and just solid damage overall. A very strong monster core supporting all the rest of these mobility of the Chaos forces. Where are the rest of the Demons forces? Okay, we have some Chaos Furies. Oh no, these are Slaanesh forces. Okay, never mind. I thought they might be demons, but no. These are Slaanesh forces. I should have known when I look at the faction icon. But yeah, Slaanesh forces, 2 fiends, multiple furies in the skies. Are there more furies on this end? No. Just a couple of furies on this end. Slaanesh furies with their AP, so they can drop onto enemy armored cavalry and start chewing them up with their AP damage. A front line of relatively sturdy Slaanesh forces. When you usually think about Slaanesh, you think about them as like a glass cannon faction, but not their warriors. Their warriors, Hellscourge's super elite melee defense, 54 melee defense, definitely can outgrind any of the Order chaff. Even the White Lions with their AP would struggle to penetrate those 54 melee defense, honestly. And on top of that, there are some regular Chaos Warriors and just a very solid Slaanesh front line. It's kind of weird when you look at these builds when Nurgle decided to go mobility heavy with all the Chaos Furies and Nurgle Furies and the Chaos Knight. And then you have Slaanesh who decided to take the heavy infantry frontline method of all things. So yeah, quite ironic. But yeah, leading the army is Nurgle. Leading the Slaanesh army is Azazel with Pavane and Pavane only for that rampaging and unit damage. All right, that is all the armies we've done. And we'll be going into normal speed. We'll do a lot of slowing down, I believe, as I do not want to miss too much of the action, and it's hard for me to cover the entire battlefield. So actually, let me just pause a bit. I need to rehydrate, because I've just been going through army builds for like 5-10 minutes. Oh boy. All right, second battle. We are starting now. The Order mobility are positioning themselves into a charging position, but unfortunately, because of the sheer numbers of mobility of Chaos on this side, these 2 Glade Riders are being picked off for free, not able to do any impactful damage against the Chaos forces. They are only merely putting a dent in the Tinge barrier on these Tentacles, and yeah, that doesn't mean anything, right? And while over here, Great Stag Knights being rampaged straight into the Butchers of Kalkengard. Okay, this is not the worst target to rampage in. And because how scattered the Chaos forces are, all the infantry rushing forward, while some mobility are left at the back line there's not a lot of support for the Butchers, other than the Furies, of course, who are diving down. But there are more Coswite Dervishes flooding in, and of course, Wild Hunters of Kronos and Great Stag Knights are positioned to help out. No, they are a bit busy to go after the Chaos Knight right now, who have caught up with the Glade Riders. They really need to charge into the rear of all these Chaos Furies and Glade Riders and Nurgle Knights, but we shall see what happens here. While over here, Great Stag Knights are tearing apart those Butchers of Kalkengard and Furies, but they themselves are being exposed to a counter charge from these Chaos Knights of Tinge, who does have magic attacks to punch through their physical resistance. While over here, Jade Lances doing some cheeky Sacco charge onto the Marauders of Nurgle, but they're only a cheap chaff, so nothing too impactful for the battlefield here. While the Jade Lances and Coswite Dervishes, the Griffin Legion, the Righteous Lances, and Longmar Riders are moving up as well, but they are a little bit too far away to help out this engagement here, as the Great Stag Knights are being quite overwhelmed. They really need, the Coswite Dervishes probably need to just rush in and maybe help bail out those Great Stag Knights, but they're hanging back for now, while the Great Stag Knights are rushing over, trying to help out this engagement over here. But that also kind of just left these Glade Riders left to die. The Glade Riders are trying to pull back, but that is a grave mistake, unfortunately, as that will allow the Furies to kick in the pursuit animation, and the Furies can just rush up, and each individual Fury model will be going after an individual Glade Rider, and maximizing their pursuit damage. The Chaos front line is not holding up too well, since there are more monsters on the Order side to really work down on those Chaos infantry. These are devoted Marauders of Slaanesh with Hell Scourges, so they don't have the armor to hold in front line. But the problem really for the Order, I believe, are their mobility just suffering massive losses. These two Great Stag Knights are being chased off by the Fury Swarm, and the Double Gorgon are here as well, giving them a pretty rough time. Dervish has also been caught by Furies, and yeah, it seems that the mobility engagements are going quite poorly for the Army of Order. At least Griffin Legion and the Longmar Riders and Onyx Crowman are helping out over here and catching some out of position Senegals, but here comes the Nurgle Knights charging, and they should be able to screen off these Order mobility. Back to slow motion again. Sorry, I really need to do a lot of slow motion as things are happening all over the battlefield. Imric has secured some victory over here, pushing back some of these Pestigors, but the Jade Lancers also took a lot of damage being dragged into a melee fight. Now, seeing that the Great Stag Knights are lost, these Great Stag Knights and the Wild Hunters of Kurnos decided to fight something else, just rushing over here to help out the rest of the Order infantry push. White Lands should be able to deal with the Chaos front line without any issues. And the Longmar Riders plus the Onyx Crowmen are really securing the front line for now. A massive pitch mobility engagement here. Everything is just swarming over. Griffin Legion gonna be a very solid mobility. Should be able to beat down enemy Nurgle Knights on the charge, but they were slowed down quite a bit earlier. So not sure what how impactful their charge can be. And a little bit of Crystal Sanctuary. I think I saw the Crystal Sanctuary in the vicinity, giving some of these Order forces a bit of protection. But anyways, this has worn down now. And what else are we seeing here? Oh, the Tears of Nurgle slowing down everything in the vicinity. Not that they are gonna be moving anywhere else. As the Order mobility are just gonna try to fight it out in this pitch battle. But at this point, the Chaos backline is pretty much secured. As you can see, there are no more Order mobility at the back. And over here, a Pit of Shades blasting away some of these Furies that are chasing after the Great Stag Knights, doing some pretty nice damage. And some of these Blue Horrors and Furies might just drop into fading territory. Orion is stuck in the fight, but he should be fine for now. He is a pretty sturdy lord after all. Plus, he does have the Cloak of Isha to keep himself alive in the late game when he's running low on health. Oh no, is this the Skull of Catan final transmutation? And on top of that, Fireborn rushing in. Yeah, final transmutation upgraded version with a Skull of Catan, absolutely nuking the health of Imric and the Fireborn. Not that there are better blobs for the final transmutation, but yeah, devastating loss for the High Elves. And over here, the Order managed to secure some victories here with the help of some Kislev mobility and the monsters beating down the Chaos infantry. But the real meat of the Chaos army, all these single entities, are pretty much still very healthy, beating down Orion in the mix. And Orion is almost dead. Yeah, sure, he has the Cloak of Isha, but that is still not enough to deal with so many Butchers and double Gorgon. So Orion is dead. First Lord Death, I believe, in the entire fight. And Imric not doing too hot as well, surrounded by Furies and anti-large single entities. Valkia, no, not Valkia. Azazel and the Chaos Lord of Siege are also in the fight. So yeah, Imric definitely want to get out of there as soon as possible. A little bit of a direct damage spell. Never mind. Probably a final transmutation from Zhao Ming. Not exactly great against the Gorgon since it can heal back up. And yeah, looks like the Order Tide is not doing too hot. The mobility fight is losing for these guys here. Righteous Lancers of Waging is the only mobility left for the Order army in the vicinity. The rest are all grind down by the sheer volume of fiends. They are very good at killing pretty much anything when you think about it. This is a 4v4 Mount Meow. Yeah, that's why we have a lot of stuff happening all over the battlefield. But yeah, overall, the Chaos Army is winning on all fronts. Other than this blob of order troops here, the rest of the mobility, the Tentacles managed to pick off all those scattered Vanguard deployed order mobility, and whatever order mobility that tries to charge up got counter-charged and got hacked to death, got outlasted by the Chaos mobility. The only thing that's really holding everything together for the Order Tide, for the Order Army, is just the Incarnate Elemental of Beast. And maybe the Warhammer Beowulfs can deny some healing for the Nurgle army. But I don't think they have any healing, actually. I don't remember. But anyways, Zhao Ming is alone, dropping in those final transmutation to try and work down these giant monsters of Beastmen. But the problem is that they all have access to healing. So how effective it is, I am not sure. Probably it's better off to just cast it on Azazel, since it's right next to the Chaos Lord. But yeah. Either ways, the Incarnate Elemental of Beast will have to carry this battle on his own if there's any chance for Order to win. Windhard God just absolutely gets shredded when the Jabber's-Life, the Brute Mother, the Vorbergland Brute Mother charges in. Vorbergland Brute Mother, yeah, charges in. Another Crystal Sanctuary, I think. Oh no, that's the frozen contact effect of Nariska. Okay. Pinning down the Jabber's Life, but nothing too amazing here, unfortunately. Another final transmutation, I believe, onto the Order Blob, and that is going to put a dent in their balance of power for sure. A Fleshy Abundance heal on the Gorgon, and there are no Warhammer Beowulfs to deny their healing right now. So they're getting the healing while the Order Army is dwindling more and more in terms of numbers. Another Flock of Doom onto the Order Army, draining away what's left of their HP. The Spellsinger of Shadows have been sitting at the back of the battlefield here, but finally she got caught in melee as well, being finished off extremely quick by a swarm of Furies and single entities of the Army of Chaos. Chaos is still trying really hard to... Waters is still trying really hard to fight back, but out of numbers, out of HP, I don't really see what they can do against the two full health Gorgons, really. The Chaos Army got a little bit of an advantage at the early game, and they just managed to secure that advantage overall. And as a result, yeah. Wait, Zhao Ming got routed. It's not army losses yet, but he still got routed when he's almost full health. What the hell happened? God damn, he must have had a really unlucky engagement or something. He just straight up routed. Or maybe, maybe it's just Cathay Force's army losses. So Zhao Ming and everything else routed at the same time. And he's not coming back. Yeah, army losses for Grand Cathay. Which is kind of sad when leaving only Kislev in a fight against so many enemies. They are not gonna win this. Zarina Katarine is just running for her life on the worst sled. The double Gorgon are still going after her right now. Yeah. Another spell coming in is probably a Final Transmutation onto the Incarnate Elemental of Beast and whatever's left on the Kislev army. And yeah, that shall be GG once more. A second win to Team Chaos. And that shall be GG for this second game, as the Incarnate Elemental of Beast slowly fades away. But yeah, most of the a lot of the mobility are still quite intact for the Chaos Army, and they are more than enough to finish off what's left of the Order Army. Now for the army performances, very unfortunate for the Wood Elf army. A lot of their Vanguard deployed forces got caught. Wait, who was the Wood Elf? Pegasus. Okay, Pegasus. Very unfortunate there. A lot of their Vanguard deployed mobility got caught out, surprised by the Chaos mobility, and they are deployed quite close to the enemy mobility as well. So they couldn't really get out of dodge in time when everything on the Chaos Mobility side just swarmed at them with the Furies, with the Zandigors, with the more Furies and Fiends of Slanesh. So yeah, very unfortunate there. And also the Pavane from Azazel is like exactly what they are afraid of, luring units into melee fights that they do not want to be stuck in. And unfortunately losing 2 expensive Great Stag Knights very early in the game, while the rest of the Glade Riders also being picked off for free by the enemy mobility, pretty much, by the Furies and the Zandigors. Orion tried to put up a fight, but when double teamed by 2 Gorgons and Azazel and Valkyria and basically anything that's anti-large in the vicinity, he is surely dead, even with his Cloak of Isha. A bit of good damage, I suppose, with the Pit of Shades from the Spell Singer, but yeah, overall, the Wood Elf had a really rough time. The High Elf army here did okay, nothing too amazing, unfortunately. The War Lions tried to push through the enemy infantry, but there are just too much infantry to chill through, and White Lions also, one of them did great, the others did alright, but only alright. Imrek got swarmed by enemy armor-piercing single entities as well, and an overcast Skull of Catan Final Transmutation put a huge dent in his HP pool, and not even the Lore of Life can save him at that point. Especially when the Lore of Life was a bit under cooldown earlier. Tequila Sunset put up a good fight with the Rank of Flame mobility, but once again, they just got swarmed by enemy mobility. The Knights, the Furies, the Zandigors all just kind of overloaded the Rank of Flame mobility, and there's just not enough stuff to help them out in the end. The Great Loma Riders might be decent, but unfortunately, they just have too few unit models to get stuck in melee fight. Zhao Ming did okay with the Final Transmutation, did some good damage, but casting those Final Transmutation onto Gorgons and yeah, pretty much just Gorgons. And as you can see, it didn't really do that much in the end. The Gorgons still pretty much at full health, since they do have access to healing when they are in a melee fight. Race has an interesting army, but as you can see here, Nariska didn't actually do that much. Griffin Legion did alright. The Incarnate Elemental of Beast actually did really well, since there's not really anything to counter it in this game. The Angkor Raiders are too distracted on the other sides of the battlefield, while the rest of the Chaos Army are all just melee troops. So, surprising enough, the Incarnate Elemental of Beast did some really solid work, especially when supported by troops like Mordheim Beowulfs and whatnot. But overall, I do think that the mobility heavy Order army suffered quite badly. It took a shorter end of the stick here, unfortunately, as the Chaos Army has better mobility in general, just out-trading them, and also more ways to control enemy mobility, like Pavane. Having those Furies diving onto these ground mobility, the ground mobility are just caught in melee and didn't get a charge off, and then the Chaos Heavy Cavalry and the Zandigors are free to just charge in and do damage. So that was pretty sad for the Order Tide. Now for the Chaos Army, we have some Pink Horrors. Only the Sour Guts earn back their value, but yeah, pretty much just that. But other than that, the mobility did really well. Just catching all those Order mobility out of position and just swarming them up. I feel like the scattering deployment of the Order Tide was their downfall, unfortunately, because they scattered their forces. They were not able to concentrate their forces to resist the enemy push, and they're just kind of throwing in units piecemeal, which allows the Chaos forces to kind of chill them up one after the other. Especially when there are some very strong single entities nearby that can also heal themselves, and yeah. Yes, you can see here the Beastman mobility did amazing, and cutting down all those... Oh, all the Flock of Dooms did really good damage as well from Malagor. He has just been casting Flock of Doom all over the place, and because there are so many troops all over the place and they're just constantly blobbing up, there are a lot of good blobs for Flock of Doom to to do damage. For the Nurgle army here, they didn't... Oh, wait, I was gonna say they didn't do too much, but after all, one Chaos Knight managed to pick off a bunch of... Are these the one on the left? I don't remember. But yeah, some of the Chaos Knights managed to pick off some Glade Riders early, and then they're just doing some really good supporting... acting as a very good defensive supporting mobility. Like, they have some really... For melee cavalry, they have really good melee stats in a prolonged grind. Especially the Nurgle, right? Additional melee defense and all that. So, and poison debuff. And on the right flank grind against the enemy flanking push from all the Griffin Legion and the Kosovo Dervishes and Jade Lances and whatnot. The Nurgle Knights actually held their ground, helping the rest of the mobility to outgrind in the Order Tide. Furries did okay, the infantry not so much, being outclassed by the Order infantry, but that's fine because Chaos got the mobility victory. For the Slanesh forces, Azazel did some really good damage with the Pavane and also hacking down single entities like Imrik on his dragon. Fiends, as usual, one of them did really well, the other not so much, but yeah, when they do good, the Fiends can be really, really good. The rest of the army, not much to say, since they're just stuck on enemy light troops. I was wondering if I should rewatch this at some point again, just to maybe catch bits and pieces we missed out, but before that, let's just jump into the third and final battle of the best of 3, and also third and final battle of the entire event, of the entire 4v4 tournament. We have on the Order side, Shirayuki, Powerjan, Pegas, and Nerd. On the Chaos side, Mr. Chalk, Sipa, Nurgles, PA, and Zaxi. Now let's hop into the save and see what happens. I hope my PC doesn't die. Cause holy shit, that's gonna be a lot of unit models. 4 whole armies. That's almost. Yeah, that's almost 10,000 unit models. Okay. I hear the music, so things are loading in. The problem is it gonna crash? Alright, we pause. Now this is the real game stuff. We can see the armies are just spreading all across the battlefield, and I think it killed my frame a bit when I was during the first few seconds I loaded in. So, as you can see here, the armies are deployed in pretty much different sections. Instead of trying to merge into one single... Oh, no, actually, both armies are scattering all over the field and deploying in a more cohesive formation. But yeah, things are looking very wide on both sides. And this time it seems that the Chaos army is trying to go for a Vanguard deployment flanking strategy. So, let me just rehydrate, and then I'm gonna start with the army builds. Oh my fucking god, my CPU is burning. Yeah, let's just lower some stuff here. Let me just do that. My CPU is burning. I'm not too happy about it. All right. You know what? I think we can do. Yeah, I think we're gonna do it like. Okay, let's just do that as well. See if we can avoid burning down the computer. Yeah, I'm just looking at the temperature on my CPU and I'm like, nope. I'm lowering some of these specs. I will turn it up later when I'm going back into normal battles, but right now I'm not staying here with the full full thing. Anyways, for the army builds here, we have 4 different armies this time. Let's start with the right flank. We have a ton of Wood Elf forces holding on to this corner with a front line of Eternal Gods with shields, and backed up by some Dryads and some more Deepwood Scouts and Hawkeyes of Drakira. So some very elite firepower indeed. Weight Watchers, 3 units of them plus a ton of Deepwood Scouts, not Swift Shiver Shards, just regular ones. So, oh wait, no, these are Swift Shiver Shards. Okay, 2 Swift Shiver one Swift Shiver Shard, 1 regular, 2 regular, and then 3 more Weight Watchers, 1 of them Hawkeyes of Drakira. Dryads guarding the rear and the flank, and some Wild Hunters of Kurnos for the mobility, protecting the back line. Oh, I can already tell this is not going to be a great time for the Wood Elves. Oh no. But anyways, let's just go through the rest of the Order army build. Leading the army, Orion again. Seeing a lot of Orion here. Supported by Ariel, so a power couple. With Tempest, Bound Berry Wine. So a little bit of a regrowth heal. Basically a regrowth equivalent. Dart of Doom, and also Acorns of the Oak of Aegis. A bit of an AoE AP explosion damage. Okay, I didn't realize it does AP, but yeah, anyways, next up we have the dwarves. Thorgrim Grudgebearer. This is definitely an off meta build when we are seeing Thorgrim on the battlefield with basically his full toolkit. Actually, Great Book of Grudges for a melee attack buff, High King, even more melee attack buff, really going ham on that attack buff stacking. Oath of Vengeance for that melee defense debuff, and yeah. High King also activates when he's in melee, so compared to before where he only activates this ability at 50% HP, this is much easier to fulfill as an activation condition and much easier to use. He will be supported by a line of hammers and iron breakers, going full elite here with the dwarves. A lot of iron breaker, a lot of hammers actually. The runic hammer also does magical attacks, so can be great against demonic infantry as well. And then further back, Goblin Hewers. We're seeing some very off-meta dwarves here. And also the Grim Dwellers, Buckwind's Rangers, Quarrelers, and more Dwarf Warriors at the back. A couple of Slayer Pirates, providing some solid AP missile fire. And yeah, next up we have the Lizardman here. Krogar leading the army and scattering his forces all over the battlefield. A couple skin cohorts with Javis here, Colossodon Hunter, some Croxigors, providing a bit more mass for the Dawi infantry line. And then some Reproductile Riders, a Rev Crystal backed up by Star Chamber Guardians, and Lord Croak with his no friendly fire explosion spells, the Lord of Explosion, the Lord of Nukes. A couple more Skink Skirmishers, providing some skirmishing firepower, Saurus Warriors, and more Saurus Warriors, some of them with spears. And yeah, that's it for the Lizardman army. For the High Elves, the 4th and final army of the Order Tide, we have a front line of Spears, second line of Swords Masters of Hoeth. What the hell is this Order army? Going full elite on everyone here. Keepers of the Flame, yeah, Phoenix Gods, Regiment of Renown with the Explosion Death. Leading the army, Archmage of Metal, and are these Sisters of Avalon? Yeah, Sisters of Avalon, providing solid AP magic missiles. And yeah, okay, I think I need to drop my specs a little bit more. Like, holy shit. Okay, I don't... My CPU really is burning. With 20k, you kind of have to go elite to spend all the money. Yeah, you kind of have to, but you can also, you know, kill whoever casting this, or kill every player's CPU by going full numbers, like, you know, just spamming unit models. Yeah, we're constantly on 90 plus degrees. I don't want to stay on this range for too long. Also, I got a stock cooler, so yeah, the cooling isn't great. The cooling isn't great for the CPU, which is the reason why. Oh, the Star Chamber. Oh yeah, these are Star Chamber Guardians. Yeah, what does the Archmage of Metal have for magic actually? Final Transmutation and Final Transmutation only to punish blobs, which we are seeing a lot of blobs here. Now let's go for the Chaos Army with units scattered all over the battlefield. Okay, a front line for... Okay, let's start with the units of the Beastmen. Okay, let's do Beastmen first. Xanagors with throwing axes, and then we have some Razorgore Chariot. I haven't seen these guys in a while. Minotaurs with Great Weapon, Angor Raiders, and Butchers of Kalgengard, the Razorgore herds, and more Minotaurs with great weapons backing up the friendly infantry front line. So Beastmen mostly going mobility, which is their strong suit, and also monstrous support, allowing the other armies to deploy all those infantry units. Also some interesting choices with the monstrous, with the AP chariots. What else? Yeah, Xanagors, throwing axes, Grookhoofs of Wolf's Run. Yeah. For the next army here, we have Slaanesh, Eternal Entourage, going very infantry heavy here. Eternal Entourage, Bringers of Beguilement, and actually they're going. Okay, no, they're going mobility heavy. A ton of Hellstriders at the back line, and a bunch of Chaos Furies scattered across the back line as. Across the Vanguard zone, not really backline, but more Vanguard zone. A couple of Fiends of Slaanesh, Eternal Entourage, Seekers. Did they bring 2 units of Eternal Entourage? Oh no, one of them is the Chaos. One of them was the Demons of Chaos Eternal Entourage. So 2 units of Eternal Entourage for the memes. I don't know, or maybe they're just that good. Anyway, Springers of Beguilement, Eternal Entourage, frontline of Mirrorguard, a bunch of Chaos Warriors, Devoted Marauders with House Scourges, more Fiends of Slaanesh, and yeah, just a ton of... Oh! Demons of Chaos and the Slaanesh army had got a lot of duplicate units. We're seeing multiple factions Fiends of Slaanesh, so 6 Fiends of Slaanesh on the battlefield in total. That is going to be quite nasty indeed. But yeah, anyways, a ton of Fiends of Slaanesh, a bunch of Devoted Marauders bolstering the infantry line, and leading the army is Keeper of Secrets and Kari, the legendary Exalted Keeper of Secrets. Acquiescence and Lash of Slaanesh, no other spells. So Siphon is still there if units are absolutely destroyed, but it's not going to be useful against ordered forces anyways. What else? For the rest of the army builds, next up we can look at Demons of Chaos, since we covered some of the duplicate units. Eternal Entourage, one of them, and a bunch of Fiends, and then a front line of Exalted Bloodletters of Khorne and Bloodletters mixed in together, just bolstering the numbers of forces, adding more bodies onto the field. Pink Horrors of Tinge, one of them, the Sour Guts, and yeah, I think that... Oh no, and a ton of mobility on the far side here as well. Furies, Seekers, and the Streaking Sky Rays for some anti-large armor piercing. The fourth and final army we're going to cover is the Norskins, a bunch of Norskin Ice Wolves, and a couple Skin Wolves armored version. Chaos Frost Dragon, the newly updated name, after a relatively new actually. But yeah, Norska will be responsible for the front line as well. A ton of Marauders and Marauder Champions, backed up by their signature mobility, the Maws of Savagery and other Skin Wolves, armored ones. Mist Stalkers, love to see these familiars on the field. Ice Wolves, more Skin Wolves armored, and then another Frostworm. We have 20k funds, so yeah, that makes sense. We're seeing so many expensive units here. More Ice Wolves, Marauder Horsemen leading the army. Throg the Troll King supported by Shaman Sorcerer with Flamestorm and Burning Head. Now let's get the battle started before my PC melts. Okay, battle has started. I might be thermal throttling, maybe. I don't know. I'm getting like 90 plus temperature here, but anyways, oh, the Furies are already catching some of the Skink Skirmishers at the back, which there are no mobility from the Order forces to protect them. There's a simply lack of cavalry overall for the Order forces, unfortunately. There are some Silver Helms, but that's about it, and Fireborn, but that's about it. Furies diving on to the Fireborn here, but the Fireborn are fighting back, and the Dragon Princes, another unit of Dragon Princes charging in as well. Oh, I definitely missed out on these mobility of the High Elves. There are too many forces. Illyrian Reaver Archers will be doing some skirmishing here, but with so much Chaos mobility, I don't know how much they can do here. And on top of that, the dwarves are not turning around in time to help out the skink skirmishers, who are getting chewed up by all these furies. At the back there, the wood elves are getting charged by all these Slaanesh mobility. Hellstriders charging into the dryads, and while Wild Hunters of Kurnoss are getting a good fight against the Chaos Furies for now, but only for now. Let's see how much else they can do. Over here, the Hellstriders trying to catch the Dragon Princess out of position, but yeah, with the Fireboard and Dragon Princess, they are getting absolutely shredded. Though the Furies are being caught here. No, not Furies, but the Illyri River Archers got momentarily caught by the Xantagors and taking quite a bit of damage. Hellstriders, though being countercharged by the Silverhelms, are taking more and more damage as well. Back to the other side, what's happening over there? Okay, Hellstriders are being pushed back, but the Fury Swarm is coming, and the Weight Watchers are not going to be happy about it at all. They're dropping onto the Weight Watchers, but a very nice Tempest from Ariel, pinning down the Chaos Furies, one of them at least. The Seekers doesn't get affected, though there are more Furies coming in outside of the area of effect from all those, from that Tempest. So the Wood Elf Missile Corps immediately compromised by a superior force of mobility, and they do not have enough units, enough resources to counteract this overload. And then there are more stuff coming in, Fiends of Slaanesh coming in, Hellscourge infantry, Razorgore chariots, and the Wood Elves are just struggling to hold them back. There are some Enigmas of Gyrant that I missed out in the deployment phase. And yeah, they're trying to hold back the line for now, but there are so many Chaos Forces, it's going to be rough. While the Chaos Forces are going very light in the middle, just kind of throwing in some token infantry, focusing their efforts on the flanks here. Very nice strategy, just overloading the flank defenses of the Order Tide, and using those monsters, Mouths of Savagery, the Frost Dragons, diving in, terrorizing the poor High Elf mobility. The Fireborn and Dragon Princess are still stuck here. Eternal Entourage and Ankari are in the fight and just chewing up these Fireborn here, getting the charge onto the Order mobility. Saurus are trying to hold the line, but there are just too many mobility overloading, and then a lot of value invested by the Order forces into the middle, into the front line, are kind of wasted here. Goblin Hewers absolutely demolishing the poor Butchers of Kalgengard here. But after that, they're kind of useless, and they have like, what, 30 artillery crew that can act as a kind of a weaker Slayer. 1/3 of a Slayer unit, I suppose. So nothing too shabby, but nothing too amazing either. But yeah, the Goblin Hewer can definitely do some devastating damage. We kind of missed out the action there, but overall, the Chaos armies are pushing on the flanks, and the Order forces are struggling to contain them. Enigmas of Gyrant and the rest of the Sylvan Guards are holding the line alongside Eternal Gods. But yeah, they're taking more and more damage, while the rest of the mobility are simply running around and going after the next units. Hawkeyes of Drakira being routed, and now Wild Hunters of Kurnoss getting overloaded by a ton of Norskin Ice Wolves, most of the Skin Wolves, and the Chaos Frost Dragon. Slow down again on the other side. Yeah, we're kind of jumping between two flanks, because that's exactly what's happening. All the action is happening anyways. Senegos Throwing Axes diving into the back line, compromising some of the Dwarf missile troops, but that's not the point here, as it all falls down to whether the Chaos army can break through the flanks here, and it seems that they're making some really good progress. Some of the Fiends are already tying down, surrounding the Ref Crystal here, alongside the Great Weapon Minotaurs. So, Sisters of Avalon still facing it to the front. They are not turning around to shoot at the more expensive and more devastating monster troops. And the Temple Gods really need to move in over and help out the Ref Crystal. But they are a little bit sluggish in response, unable to respond to this enemy threat. I don't know if there might be lag or anything there. But yeah, finally they're moving over. But oh no, they're not reinforcing this engagement. And the Archmetal Mage went just kind of slaughtered off screen. She dived into the middle of a bunch of Keepers of the Flame, but there are just too many Bringers of Beguilement and the double Eternal Entourage. Actually, no, there's only one Eternal Entourage, but and also Fiends of Slaanesh surrounding and beating down the poor Archmage of Metal. More healthy Fiends of Slaanesh are in the vicinity. Hellforge Hoves clearing out any resistances against them. Any infantry thrown at them will get slaughtered. But it seems that the Order army is kind of stabilizing on this end. Javelins and Deepwood Scouts firing in with the help of the infantry, the spears. They managed to push back some of these Chaos Push. The Chaos Push on the other side is still steamrolling through though, so that might still be a problem. Wild Hunters of Konos have been beaten back, I believe. And the Skinwolves armored Skinwolves will still be a problem, though Goblin Hewer crew, now that they're out of ammo, can just rush into melee crew, perhaps. Rush into melee for a bit of anti-large damage, since they are basically Slayers. They're actually all Slayers, actually, yeah. They should be fine. Weight Watchers, some of them actually managed to get secured and still firing back. So very nice job from the Wood Elf player actually managing to stabilize the back line after a very strong Chaos Mobility rush. The Dwarves are also providing some fire support, but the problem is really this side here. Krogar on his Grimlock has been beaten up by Throg and Ankari together, and he is not coming back with so many Chaos Mobilities surrounding him and just chasing them down. Grim Delver's gonna do some good damage if they get a shoot, but here comes the Great Weapons Minos and then the Mirror Guard, and they will be dragged and finished off in melee. A little bit of spell casting. Oh, it's an explosion. Not sure which tier of Deliverance of Itza there, but doing some minor damage to the Chaos Warriors. I think the temperature is a bit. Anyways, Slayer Pirates haven't been using much of their ammo and just got dragged and killed in melee combat. Very unfortunate there, as their AP missiles can do a lot of good damage. Ice Wolves are now getting on top of the Quarrelers, and Bugman Rangers being cut down by the Zandigos. On the far side, Star Chamber Guardians are pretty much the only thing still holding for the Lizardmen. The characters are all gone though. Oh wait, Beastmen have Taurox leading the army. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, but anyways, the Chaos Mobility have reigned supreme after all, beating down all the Order Mobility support, and now there's nothing really to stop them from running through all the Order missile troops. Yeah. Fiends of Slanesh rushing in, and there's nothing really to stop them. They're just stuck in a bunch of Silver Guard. Yeah, I think that shall be army losses for some of the factions. Maybe not, but yeah. Either way, Order forces with all their missiles compromised. They can't really reorganize a decent enough resistance against the enemy push. And with the Silver Guard army losses hitting them, the High Elf forces are being knocked out on the battlefield, leaving only 3 parties on the fight and making the fight even harder for the Order army. Hammers are still surrounding Thorgrim, who is still very much healthy. Orion's still fighting. There are still some Weight Watchers firing in, ripping apart one of the Ice Dragon, but there's nothing left to protect them. Now the Goblin Hewers are still fighting. Goblin Hewer crew, not the Hewer themselves, and Iron Breakers are still holding. The problem is that the mobility just kind of went around the superior Order front line and just compromised their flanks, overloading those defenses, and in the end, the Order forces simply cannot respond to the enemy push. Having too much infantry, maybe if the Dwarves are holding the flanks, maybe they will stand a better chance. Combined with a bit of mobility support shifting over, but with the Dwarves in the middle kind of wasting their potential, there's not much the flanks can do, since they do have the weaker forces holding them. But yeah. Taurox the Brassbull is now duking it out against Thorgrim, and he should be able to beat down Thorgrim no problem. Yeah, the Weight Watchers, as I said before, they're all unprotected, exposed to enemy mobility, nothing really there to protect them. Once the mobility of Chaos moves over, and yeah, they are just gonna they're just gonna get finished off. Weight Watchers collapse, and now leaving only the stubborn Dwarves in the fight. And Thorgrim is now being 2v1 by... Oh wait, no. Orion and Thorgrim fighting back to back. That is the ultimate last stand of the ages. But I don't think that's gonna matter at this point. The rest of all the armies are all falling apart. Orion is now alone, as Thorgrim has been routed or straight up died. I don't even see Thorgrim. But yeah, anyways, Orion is alone. Him versus the world. There's no hope for him to win this fight. And there's a Rune Smith on the far side. Okay, but yeah, that shall be the end. As the Chaos push successfully overloaded the Order flanks, and the Order simply couldn't respond fast enough to counteract the rush. They managed to stabilize the right flank with the Wood Elves, but the left flank the Chaos Forces just keep steamrolling the left flank, as there's simply a lack of resources being shifted over to stabilize the flanks. Like, a very interesting... I might actually load back in again to check the... I might load back in later again to check the deployment. I think the Chaos Forces had a very interesting strategy. We'll talk about it later, but because like the Order Forces did Vanguard deployment in the second game, but their Vanguard deployment failed, while the Chaos Vanguard deployment in the third game succeeded. And I think there's a pretty interesting distinction between the two games' strategies, the two Vanguard deployment strategies, which we can kind of point out when we look back into the third game. So we'll jump back into the replay again later. But right now, let's look at the army performances. Some of the Hammerers did great, actually, with the melee attack support from Thorgrim, but Thorgrim himself did pretty poorly for how expensive he is. The rest of the Dwarf forces... Iron Breakers did alright, especially the North Gremlings, but the rest of the... oh shit, these Quarrelers did a lot of damage. Slayer Pirates though, not so much. Probably if the Quarrelers switched to regular... these Slayers got replaced by Quarrelers, it would have been better. Also, because of the lack of micro in terms of frontline troops, the Goblin Hewers were not exactly avoided by some of these Minotaurs, so Goblin Hewers got some ridiculous value with their DPS. But other than that, the backline just got compromised way too quickly got compromised pretty heavily for the Order forces, because they don't really have the mobility to respond to the Chaos mobility push. Like, you can see how static a lot of these formations are. And the lack of mobility forces in general. The High Elves got some nice mobility in the form of a few Silverhelms and Ilarian Reaver archers and whatnot, but that is far from enough to hold the flank when there's a ton of Skin Wolves, a ton of Fiends, a ton of Heartseekers just all swarming your one flank. And all the expense on the Sisters of Avalon, okay, the Sisters of Avalon are kind of worth it, but all the expense on the infantry though, they're kind of wasted. Silver Guard did alright, some of them, but once they got caught by, like, say, elite Bloodletters, and they're just kind of toast. Anyways, the Archmage of Metal got caught in melee a little too early and got eliminated, so it didn't really do too much there. Very unfortunate. And yeah, even the Keepers of the Flame had a really rough time being overloaded with a ton of monsters. Okay, so let's look at these Lizardmen forces. Lockrock did alright. Unfortunately, not the Croxagores. These guys just shattered army losses early in the game, and yeah, Saurus are kind of disappointing in the current meta. Again, they just got overloaded by all the stuff thrown in by the Chaos mobility. All the Fiends, all the Minotaurs, all the monsters just rushing in, plowing through them with the impact damage, and they just died horribly. And Star Chamber Guardians and Temple Gods also suffered pretty badly. I feel like the mistake over here for the Order is just really not investing enough in mobility to stop the enemy, to stop possible enemy rush. Yeah, the missiles are not exactly too useful since they just got quickly distracted, quickly silenced by enemy mobility. And the fragile Reproductile Riders got quickly eliminated early as well. For the Wood Elves army, Orion did way better this time than last time. But yeah, the Power Couple did some pretty good work overall, but the other infantry not so much. Yeah, Wraiths of the Frozen Heart with their magic and magic attacks, I guess they did really well, and additional melee stats. Eternal Gods and the Weight Watchers, they all, and also Deepwood Scouts, they almost managed to stabilize. Oh no, not the Hawkeyes of Dracula and the Weight Watchers. They didn't do too hot here, but they almost managed to stabilize the right flank, which is definitely something commendable of the Wood Elves and the Order efforts in general. Unfortunately, though, the Wild Hunters of Kurnus and Enigmas of Garan, they did their best to hold the flank, and they almost succeeded. But yeah, overall, there's just too much mobility on the flanks, while there's not really much in the middle to for the dwarves to fight. Okay, so for the Chaos Army here, we have some Bloodletters did all meh. They did pretty meh. Some of them did alright, but the other did meh. Exalted Bloodletters one did really well. They mostly conserved their hit points until the very late game. There are no good targets that can beat them up. Maybe the Swordmasters can trade more efficiently into them, but even so, they're still kind of fighting out of their depths. As the Exalted Bloodletters, especially the Hellforge hosts, are just really good in killing armored infantry. Including the Swordmasters, really. What else? We have the Auras not doing too much, but the mobility, getting some spectacular damage, especially with the sheer amount of fiends. Shrieking Skyrays as well, overloading those meager mobility on the High Elf side, and just pushing straight through. And after the first initial mobility getting eliminated, there's not really much else to stop the Chaos rush to take control of the battlefield and finish off just kind of a ping-ponging around the Order back line. As for the Fiends here, for the Slaanesh Fiends, two did really well. One of them got eliminated early, but that's not important. Eternal Entourage did so much damage. The double Eternal Entourage threat is kind of OP. Oh boy, this might be the next meta. But yeah, double Eternal Entourage, their superior mobility, AP damage, and melee stats makes them a very lethal unit. Breaking through and then running down routed units. Bringers of Beguilement also doing some really good damage. Hellstriders, not so much. The Chariots also didn't do too much here. Infantry wise, not doing much, but the focus was never on the infantry for the Chaos Army. It was on the flanks, and Kari did spectacular, killing multiple single entities, including the poor Krogar. Krogar just got smacked by Ankari. Okay, for the Norscan army here, single entities did alright. Frost Dragon not doing too hot, but the Skinwolves did spectacular. I think they did a very solid job overall, alongside with the support of all these Ice Wolves, overloading enemy flanks and just breaking through them and chasing down the routed units. While the infantry mostly just kind of did meh, but that's fine. They're mostly there to distract and pin down the slower formations, like the Lizardmen and the Dwarfs. As for the Beastmen army, Minotaurs did alright. Two of them did great. Butchers got nuked by all of those Goblin Hewers. But that's fine. The rest of the army paid for themselves. A ton of very good performance from the mobility. Once again, the Tentacles. Even the Razorgore chariots did great. Throwing axes, not so much. Being outshot by enemy firepower. And the Angor Raiders also didn't do too much. But, ooh, man, Torox the Brassbull did some solid damage. And yeah, that shall be the very end of this best of 3 event. And we can see that Chaos has managed to secure a 3-0 victory against the armies of Order. Seems like in the next best of 3 4v4 event, Team Order will have to figure out some other strategies to win their game. And yeah, very unfortunately, Order is gonna rank last, or well, they're gonna rank 3rd in this tournament. And the second place we have Chaos, Team Chaos, which got 4 wins over the course of the battle of all these battles. And on top we have Team Terror, securing the champion, securing their superior position in this tournament with a total of 5 wins over the course of 6 games. Very nicely done by all players there. Very nice to see this kind of grand battles, the carnage, the temperature on my CPU are all absolutely incredible. And especially big thanks to Lucyna for inviting me to cast these 4v4 events. And I'm look forward to more events hosted by Lucyna and maybe other players, other content creators as well. But for now, that's gonna be all for army casting. But we're not ending just yet. Just gonna quickly jump back into the 20k replay, and just to talk about the possible advantage of the Chaos Vanguard deployment strategies over the Team Order Vanguard deployment strategies, like the differences and why the Chaos Rush works while the Order Rush did not. So let's just quickly check. But yeah, GG to everyone who has played in the 4v4 event. Came for the carnage, stay for the post-battle analysis. Hey. But yeah, if we stop the battle here, we can see that the mobility of the Chaos are still quite scattered for the Slaanesh forces at the back there, but you can see they have grouped up a lot of their important, expensive mobility on the flanks, concentrating their forces readying for like a strong push, a strong punch on the flanks that will immediately overload enemy defenses. While in the middle section, you can see the armies are all some like cheap stuff. You can see Angorherds, regular, a bit of Marauder champions. I guess that's the more expensive bit, but otherwise it's just a bunch of inconsequential infantry. The winning rush are definitely in all the monsters, the low entity model count units like the Fiends, the Skin Wolves, the Minotaurs, which are all deployed on the flanks. There are a couple Minotaurs in the middle section and Razor Gores as well, but only a couple. All the values, all their lords are all on the flanks. You can see even like the lords are all... This is just a blob of 3 lords, 1 character. Taurox himself, of 2 characters, 2 more heroes. Taurox himself is here, Throg is here, 4 of all the lords are here actually. The Cold Voider is here, Ankari is here, Herald of Nurgle is here. It's just gonna be 4 lords beating down whoever ended up on this flank. Very poor time. While at the same time, yeah, it is a very nice synchronized push from the Chaos side, just focusing all their push, all their efforts on the flanks. The middle section is just kind of like an anchor to hold down enemy forces in the middle. While on the other side, okay, also yeah, there's also a bunch of mobility, but they are not in any. They are deployed far back enough. They are not in immediate danger of being caught and killed. So that is another thing as well. They can just retreat if they have to, or they can just jump into a fight and then. And at the same time, all the mobility will just immediately rush over. And at the same time, the Order forces are not really prepared for a flank overload, especially when a full army of dwarves are deployed in the middle section. So all their value are just down in the middle, securing the center, which actually is not under much of a threat. The Ironbreaker plus a few missiles are more than enough to hold back all these Chaos troops. Maybe just need a couple more hammers, but a lot of the rest of the value goes into the missile troops, which are not exactly needed in holding the front line. Instead, they are more, if there are some, say, gyrocopters on the flanks to help out, maybe it will be better, but then again, gyrocopters are just gonna get caught by Fury. So I feel like the dwarves are probably better off deploying on the flanks, but then again, they're deploying a lot of those missiles, which are easily compromised by the enemy mobility. So yeah, dwarves is probably not great in this kind of like high max fun, 20k large fun, large armies kind of setting. And yeah, on top of that, the Lizardmen also don't have much mobility support as well. All their value goes into like Temple Guards, Saurus infantry, which are very slow to react to mobile threats, which partially contributed to why they were not able to hold down the left flank in the mid game. There are only some very fragile projectile riders to help hold the flanks, and they're just kind of scattered across the field. And yeah, once the quad lord push plus 2 characters, plus 2 hero push comes in with all the elite infantry, all the elite monsters. Damn, like there are like what, two fiends, 2 skin wolves, both of the eternal entourage, multiple centaur units, and a ton of furies ready to just pounce on the 3 fiends actually, 4 fiends actually, all ready to just overload this one flank of poor Sylvan guards and all that. So which explains why the look at the frame rate when we go into fast forward. But yeah, once all the monsters start overloading this flank, let's focus on this flank and see what happened earlier there, since we're just jumping around. But yeah, this flank just didn't have anything to protect themselves. Some Saurus warriors are like positioning, poising to counteract enemy charge, but okay, pause. You can see a lot of these value of the Order army are just kind of hanging around in the middle, not really reacting to that's like a full army, maybe 2 armies worth of value rushing in from this one flank. Stuff is just running around the defenses, overloading enemy defenses. Like there's just not enough infantry, not enough cavalry, not enough stuff in general to react to all these incoming threats. And whatever is trying to hold this flank is just gonna quickly get swarmed by enemy troops. Like there are some Dragon Princes and Fireborn here. Silver Helms though getting absolutely swarmed by the Eternal Entourage, especially when they try to retreat here, allowing that pursuit animation to kick in, pursuit behavior to kick in, and they take a lot more damage when being chased. And then Eternal Entourage catching those Fireborn, plus a vein of Slanesh keeping acquaintances. Okay, slowing down. The rampage contact effect maybe. Doesn't matter anyways. But yeah, Fireborn were stuck in the melee fight. Was that rampage contact effect? Let me just check. Something was keeping the Fireborn in. Not sure what. Actually, never mind. But yeah, the Fireborn immediately got killed, getting charged by the Eternal Entourage and also the Dragon Princes as well. Very nice push from the... Oh, even a Flamestorm onto these blobbed up Saurus, immediately nuking them, with the Bringers of Beguilement hunting them down in melee, and then terror kicking in from all the monsters. The Saurus just crumbled under this overload of monsters. Yeah, all the push just happened here on this one flank, and once the High Elves and a few of those Lizardman units starts breaking, there's very little stuff to just contain this threat, and then all the monsters just gonna rush in, jump on these unbraced Keepers of the Flame and just chew them up. The Archmage tried to dive down and stabilize the fight, but that also exposes her to a ton of Furies and Bringers with Beguilement. Everything just swarmed this poor dragon. Especially she's not the best fighter and takes more damage in the process. But yeah, that's it for today's stream. That's it for today's stream. I hope you all enjoy the battles, the massive scale of the 4v4, all the overwhelming numbers on the battlefield there. Overwhelming my CPU for sure. And yeah, the grand scale of a 4v4, especially with 20k gold on every single army. You don't see that every day for sure. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching the stream, and congratulations to Team Terror for winning the tournament. GG to everyone playing in the tournament, and also GG to my CPU for surviving that. Big thanks to Lucyna for inviting me to cast these replays. Super fun to showcase them to everyone here. And that shall be it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see everyone in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.